Yeah, so I just checked out John Wick because they got it on Netflix. They got all three of them. I'll check out all three, but by lines, we won't get through the first one, so here we go. So basically got this dude by the name of John. The thing is, he was then with this chick by the name of Helen. Now that's supposed to be his wife, apparently. Sad thing happened, his wife ended up passing away due to cancer. So at the funeral, this dude by the name of Marcus shows up. So for right now, he just seems like an old friend. Yeah. But we want something. Anyway. So after he gets back home, he gets this gift at the door, right? Turns out the gift is actually a dog. Now, where'd the dog come from? It was a gift that was given to him by Helen, happened she ever to be able to pass away. I was like, wow. And the card says, here's something else for you to love besides your car. And he's got this classic 1969 Mustang or whatever. So we established the two things he cares about right now is his car and his dog. He goes to this little area where he could drive his car around and just start spinning around back and forth, just going crazy. Then he goes to the gas station, pumps some gas. Meanwhile, these Russian dudes come out of nowhere or whatever like that. This dude by the name of Losef starts admiring his car. But he wants him to sell it to him, and obviously he's like, yeah, this is not for sale. He goes about his business, but trust me, this is not going to be the last we see of Losef. So at night, he gets woken up by the dog, thinking that the dog's got to go to the bathroom. But it turns out when he gets downstairs, Losef and the boys are already in his house. They end up beating this man up because they want his car. And because the dog keeps making a bunch of noise, they end up killing his dog. That shit crazy. So these guys end up turning this car in to this dude by the name of Aurello. Aurello's looking at this shit like, where'd you get this car from? He said, man, take that car out my shop. I don't want to have nothing to do with this shit. Oh yeah, I forgot. As soon as he seen Losef and he seen that car, he immediately punched him in his face. Then he gets a call from this dude by the name of Viggo. Viggo's like, yo, why you punch my son in the face? He was like, your son stole John Wick's car and apparently killed his dog. Viggo just says, oh, and hangs up the phone. Oh shit. So Viggo's right-hand man is a guy from the Allstate Mayhem commercials. Mayhem, like me, you know what I'm saying? And they were closing this deal, but Viggo's not even thinking about that shit. So apparently we see Losef and his boys come back in, and we find out that Losef is actually Viggo's son. So Losef did some shit in Atlantic City or whatever like that, so he's thinking like, yo, are you mad about that? He's like, no, I'm mad about the fuck you did with the car. Losef didn't even know who the guy was. Viggo was like, nigga, that's John Wick, yo. So we found out a long time ago, John Wick used to work for Viggo and his boys. And he wanted to get out because he wanted Helen in his life. So Viggo asked him to do a very impossible task. A task where he's just stacking a bunch of important bodies to actually build the foundation that Viggo and his boys are standing on. So basically, they used to call John Wick Baba Yaba, which is like the boogeyman. But the thing is, he's the guy you send to kill the fucking boogeyman. That's how serious he is. So after knowing all this information and his wife passing away, a couple days after that, your son steals this man's car and kills his dog. Nigga. So Losef is so arrogant. He's like, yo, I could finish the job. I could put a stop to this. His father's like, yo, did you hear anything I just said? And he tells him John is coming for you. Like, yo, he's basically about to just give his son up. That's how fucking serious he is. I'm like, what the fuck? But of course, he's not going to just give his son fully in. So then we see the scene where John's going to the basement. He's like breaking through that shit and just pulls out a bunch of guns and money. He had it buried under concrete in the ground in the basement. Viggo ends up calling John to try to calm him down, but John ain't saying shit. He knows what time it is. He's like, man. So basically, Viggo got sent niggas to John's house. Obviously, John could cook all these motherfuckers. Then a cop ends up coming to his door and was like, hey, John, what's up, Jimmy? He's like, business as usual? Somewhat. Yeah, just heard a noise complaint. Just keep it down. I'm like, the fuck? He had his own cop just to make sure it was on some chill shit. Now, I gotta stop for a second. Why didn't his father tell him anything about this nigga? I mean, yeah, he was out the game, but still. Because Losef even figured out a way to get to the address, so he obviously knew or kind of knew who this person was, and he still treated him like a nobody. So basically, he didn't know through the organization anyway, and he just thought he was stealing some random guy's car that had a 1969 fucking Mustang. Nigga. Alright, back to the story. So it gets to the point where Viggo's gonna put out an open contract for like $2 million to get this nigga. And the first person he goes to make this official, he goes to Marcus. So we find out Marcus was some type of sniper back in his day, but bottom line is I guess he still takes contracts. So John gets some money, gets some guns, clears out the house. He ends up going to this hotel called the Continental. So it's basically like a classy hotel with nothing but criminals and assassins and all types of crazy motherfuckers. They say, hey, glad to have you back. You here on business? He's like, nah, it's personal. So apparently he's been out the game for like 5 years. So basically he's gonna stay there a couple of days. He gets himself settled in. Then he goes down to the basement to like this little spot. It's like a little gambling spot. It's a bunch of all these high-class criminals and shit. Then he talks to this dude by the name of Winston. He's like, hey, man, you back? Now, apparently, Viggo knows that this guy's going to the Continental. So the thing is, he's got somebody set up in there like, hey, if they do anything, if a certain somebody goes to do anything in there to get the $2 million, boost the price up to $4 million. Now, here's the problem. The Continental got rules. And if you do shit in there you ain't supposed to be doing, you paying a heavy price for that shit. So you better be ready to risk it all if you're going to do that. So it's good reason for people to feel somewhat safe in this Continental spot. He meets up with the bartender. He's about to get a drink or whatever like that. And then she's like, his compliments is on the house or whatever like that. But the drink comes from Winston. He's like, thanks. But he leaves the drink there. Then he met this chick by the name of Perkins or whatever like that. But yeah, I guess she's like, hire assassin that he knew from back in the day or whatever. He ends up getting some information about where Yosef usually hangs out at. It's like this club spot. It's got like a spa in it, all type of shit. But Viggo knows Vic very well. John very well. So he's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? He's probably gonna be spotted there because obviously they know his son is there. He gets him in the club. All mayhem breaks the fuck loose. Losef is already in there. Meanwhile, his boys are going to the bathroom or something like that. John Wick goes in there and done deals all these niggas, gets their phone. And then there's mayhem in the club. Losef ends up getting away somehow, but bottom line is John Wick ends up fucking up everybody in that bitch. Losef scared as shit. He tries to make a call to Victor, but bottom line is John Wick got the phone. He's like, yeah, Victor's dead. Everybody got a price. Fucking done. You know his time is coming. So John Wick goes back to the Continental Hotel, tries to get some sleep. After he gets some laundry done and gets himself cleaned up. Also, we see Marcus on the rooftop. This nigga about to snipe him. He about to get John Wick done deal. Then all of a sudden, Marcus notices Perkins coming in the room trying to get this nigga. So Marcus ends up shooting the side of the pillow to alert John, you know what I'm saying? And John and Perkins end up getting the scrapping. So she was the one Viggo was going to get $4 million to. So basically, John ended up controlling the situation and got some information out of Perkins. Turns out Viggo has a stash at the church. And she also told him where Losef hideout is. So this dude by the name of Harry is in the other room, and he's like, hey, Harry. Oh, hey, John. What's good? So Harry's basically going to watch at the Perkins while, John go out and handle his business. John ends up going to the church, fucking these niggas up. He gets the priest to open the vault. Now, it's got a lot of money in there, but it also has, like, documents. He's got bribery stuff, you know what I'm saying, videotapes, all type of shit, right? John ends up lighting the whole shit on fire and walking the fuck out. Straight on some black suit gangster shit. But then we see John on the other side of the building. The only reason he did this was to get Viggo and his boys out in the open. Of course, Viggo kills the priest for giving up information. Now, as Viggo and his boys about to dip off, try to find some type of control situation. All of a sudden, John comes with his big ass machine gun. He starts busting on niggas. He was busting on damn near the whole crew till all of a sudden he got hit by a fucking truck. And then they capture him. Now they gotta send him in a chair, ready to torture him and all this other shit. They go back and forth about their feelings about joining back in. He was like, why don't you just come back to us? Obviously, he knew that wasn't gonna happen. So right when they was about to done deal John, all you see is shots coming up, pew pew. Niggas getting duffed after Viggo try to leave. You saying, where the shots come from? Marcus is over the other side of the building, helping out John once again. Now I gotta take it back. Perkins didn't give up the location of Viggo's son. Because Viggo actually did it himself when he was stuck in a no-win situation after John got up out of the spot and started busting off on the truck, giving Viggo no choice but to give up his son. I'm like, what the fuck? Now we see Losef in this abandoned spot while his other dudes just playing video games. You thinking to yourself, like, does he have anything covered? They got a bunch of snipers on roofs and everything like that to make sure he's all good, right? But that don't mean a damn thing to John Wick. John Wick gets to the spot, he ends up duffing all these niggas. Losef gets to the spot in the warehouse where all these cars are, but the thing is, John Wick already blew up all the fucking cars. You think to yourself, how the hell did he get to that spot so quick and then still spin around and get to... Anyway, John ends up getting the Losef banging on one spot in the stomach and one shot to the head. Done deal. So how does Viggo retaliate from all this? John ends up meeting up with Marcus, right, at this little park or whatever like that. But who's watching them? Ends up being Perkins. Now, how the fuck is Perkins watching them? Well, Harry had Perkins handcuffed in the hotel, right, because after John was supposed to be watching them. But guess what? She double jointed her fingers or whatever behind the thing and ends up breaking out of the handcuffs. Ends up smoking Harry, getting him done deal dead as shit. So that's how Perkins got out the fucking hotel. So we see Marcus walking down the street, whatever like that. Then Viggo's boys end up rolling up on him. We're like, damn. So how they know how they know Marcus was helping out John? Because Perkins told him. So he's mad thinking to himself, like, yo, you could have easily killed John. What the fuck, man? So he comes up with an excuse like, man, you pulled the contract. Viggo's like, yeah, but you had chances before that. Fuck that. So Marcus ends up fighting back with bottom line as he ends up getting duffed. Marcus done deal dead as shit. Viggo ends up calling John, letting him know what's up. John makes a turnaround. Perkins ends up seeing John go in the building. But then Perkins ends up getting this call to meet somewhere, right? Perkins ends up meeting in this little area and ends up getting surrounded. Ends up being by who? Winston. Winston's like, yeah, you violated continental rules. You know how this goes. And then the boys end up done dealing Perkins. She dead as shit. Then Winston ends up making the call to John, figuring out that Viggo's trying to get to a helicopter at a certain spot. So he gets the information to where Viggo is. He gets to the spot, done deals everybody, including the fucking Mayhem man. You know, the All-State man, his right hand man. So apparently John ran out of bullets. So now it comes down to a one-on-one between him and Viggo. They end up going back and forth. John's end up getting stabbed in the stomach, but he ends up stabbing Viggo on top of his shoulder blade or something like that. Bottom line is, Viggo succumbed to his injuries. He was done deal dead as shit. So John ends up getting to this spot. He ends up crashing into this like building or whatever like that. And that's the scene we see at the beginning of the movie. So he gets back to it. He sees this video of him and his wife just talking to each other, kissing on the beach. He saved this video on his phone or whatever like that, right? He ends up breaking into this veterinarian shop, pours some disinfectant on his wound, gets a staple gun, and starts stapling this shit together. And he ends up picking up a dog out of there, you know what I'm saying? Putting a leash on it, and that's his new dog now. And that's the end of the movie. Now, obviously, they got a part 2, part 3, and I think a part 4 is coming out eventually. And I'm going to do all 3 of them, but bottom line, that's part 1. John Wick on Netflix. Check it out.